Hi, Jules Cruise Companion. This is a very old photo and a photo from my very first cruise, which was 1984 on Fairstar, the fun ship, a P&O. And since then I have done 36 cruises. I have circumnavigated the globe and visited 64 countries. In this video, I'll really focus on what the ships look like and what the anatomy of a cruise ship is, as I explore some of the old photos from my decades of traveling. So the basic anatomy of a cruise ship is very, very similar, regardless of what the cruise line is. So I've only been on 6 cruise lines: Disney, P&O, Royal Caribbean, Princess, Norwegian, Carnival and Celebrity. So I've been on all 4 of the Disney ships: Wonder, Magic, Dream and Fantasy. On P&O I've only been on Dawn, Eden, Aria and I'm booked on Explorer, but I haven't been on her yet. So Royal Caribbean, I have been Rhapsody, Radiance, Legend and Explorer. Princess, I've done Sea, Sun and Royal. Norwegian, I've done Jules, Star, Pride and Epic. Carnival, I have done Sensation and Spirit. And Celebrity, Constellation, there she is in the background there when I did. So that was Suez Canal there in the background. So the anatomy of most of the ships, they have basically the same format. Under the waterline is where the crew is. Then the middle kind of decks are the public decks, where you'll have the atrium and most of the restaurants. And then the higher up decks are where the cabins, the staterooms would be. This is the deck plan for Carnival Splendor. She'll be coming down into Australia. And you can see in those middle decks there are all of the restaurants, the shops, etc. Then you have all of the cabins on the decks above and below, and the top decks have the Lido, the pool deck, all of those type of activities. So that's pretty exciting. When Princess cruise ships come to Australia, I've never been on Coral Princess, but I have met Coral Princess, and here she is going through the Panama Canal. On this transit, I was on Norwegian Star, and Coral Princess did the parallel locks at Miguel Locks and Gatan Lock across the Panama Canal. So this is a deck plan of Coral Princess, and as you can see, the top few decks are the pools and that type of thing, the buffet. Then the middle decks are the cabins. The middle few decks is where the atrium, the restaurants, the reception type areas, and then under the waterline you have the laundry and all of that nature, the support network of where the crew live. This next deck plan is of Pacific Explorer, and she's much smaller, with only having 2 lift wells. On her 12 decks, you'll actually see men's and women's toilets on either side of the boat, which is an older style of design of public spaces. 9, 10 and 11 are all cabins, and then up the top you've got the pantry, the open deck and the oasis area, where the casino and the marquee are all, and Dragon restaurant are all on 6 and 7. So these next couple of photos are just of different cruises that I've been on. There's nothing better than the open ocean. So Princess Cruise Lines, fabulous on the open deck there. And so this one is coming into Pride of America. That's Hawaii. That is Norwegian Star in a fjord in Norway. That is This is Mendenhall Glacier when I was on Norwegian Jewel, cruising the Alaskan coastline, that 7-day inner passage. Little glimpse here of Pacific Dawn. And then this next one is from Princess, Royal Princess, and looking at the back there is Norwegian Star, and that is in Kotor Harbour in Montenegro, doing the 7-day Mediterranean cruise. That looks to be tendering off one of the Princess cruise lines, and I suspect around the Mediterranean. This beautiful Explorer of the Sea was my Trans-Pacific crossing, Seattle to Sydney, and it had one of the most beautiful visits to Murray Island, where the water was just beyond crystal. It was just an amazing Trans-Pacific crossing, and of course you get the ceremonial celebration with Neptune. A little glimpse here of Norwegian Jewel. As I say, I've only done her on the Alaskan Inner Passage run. So they were, of course, all those standard itineraries of Ketchikan and Juneau, Victoria in British Columbia, because once you leave Seattle, you have to actually hit a foreign soil before you can come back into America. My first Carnival cruise experience was out of Miami, and that was on Carnival Sensation, and that was just a 3-night or 4-night booze cruise down to the Bahamas. And then I also had the experience of sailing on Carnival Spirit out of Sydney. That was just an amazing experience on an older boat, but still a fun boat to be on. And that was just over onto the Pacific Islands, with some of the ports, of course, being tender ports. Just spectacular. These next couple of shots are actually both in Catacalone Harbour, and that is Royal Princess. So I ended up visiting Catacalone twice within a month on 2 different cruise lines. So that was the second visit on Royal Princess, because the first one was on Celebrity Constellation, where as part of that Suez Canal passage, it's not uncommon to visit the same ports if you're doing the same circuit in the Mediterranean. And here's just a few glimpses of some of the internals of a cruise ship. Some people might say that most internals of a cruise look the same, but I beg to differ. And this is a little image that is very memorable for lots of reasons. It's always the saddest day on a cruise, which is the night before disembarkation, when you put your luggage out ready for the crew to take down to the hold. But how do you know what day it is on a cruise? Well, that is pretty easy. Some cruise lines have clocks around, and this one I think was Explorer of the Sea. Every day in the lift they changed the little sign within the mat within the lift. So that was really cute. And I don't remember which cruise this was. I think it was Connie. I think it was Constellation. Every day they would change the mats in the lift to something, a new saying. I'm always asked which is my favourite cruise ship, and my favourite cruise ship is Norwegian Star, just because I've been on her so many times, so many different itineraries, transatlantic, Norway. Yeah, she's just one of my favourite ships, but not only because of the amount of times that I've been on her, it's because of the crew. The crew have always been quite amazing, and I have established an absolutely fabulous relationship with everybody, right from the bar staff, the laundry staff, right up to the executive chef. So going on so many different cruises on her, you know, I've even managed to get into the snow in Norway. She was that spectacular. Then when it actually comes to my favourite cruise line rather than ship, my favourite cruise line, of course, is Disney, having been on all 4 of their boats, Wonder, Magic, Dream and Fantasy. predominantly out of the Caribbean, doing the Bahamas, etc. But just fabulous ships. The entertainment's great, the decor is fabulous, the room size is magnificent, hidden Mickeys are everywhere. You get to see the Disney characters wandering around the ship. So these next couple of photos are just random photos from different ships that I've been on, different staterooms, different cabins, balconies, internal. Some are shared, some weren't, some were solo. The decor is always pretty impressive. Larger lounge space areas in some. Some rooms can bunk up to 4 people. It's a tight little internal one there, but still absolutely worth being on. Having the window just adds a different depth to the room. One of the fun things that I like to do on a cruise ship is take magnets with me, and I put them on the outside of the door if you want to leave a note for anybody. It's just a fun way of doing it. But then what I have found over the years that I arrange my magnets, and it's not uncommon for people in my hallway to mess with the magnets, turn them upside down, steal them. By the time the cruise has ended, it's not uncommon for me to have lost all of my magnets, but this is an example of somebody coming along and messing with the magnets and turning them upside down. So this next group of photos is just a little example from that Celebrity Constellation trip through the Suez Canal there. So that's the tracking map, which is always fun to keep an eye on. But what was different with the Suez Canal was that we had to go into pirate mode. So we had to go into blackout curtains. So every night the blackout curtains would go up, and before we actually entered the canal, we would do a pirate drill where we were assigned your muster station, which was internal, and then everybody had to muster there so that in case of an emergency, we would go to our muster stations. The other thing that was quite different on this trip is we did have external security. Some ex-SAS soldiers came on board, and they were with us for the whole transit, and they'd come on with their guns, and then they would be piloted off at the end of the escort. So the Chef Abdul was absolutely fabulous on Celebrity Constellation. So we went down and did the internal tour and went down to the galley and saw the crew working really hard. So there's hundreds of people working behind the scenes to make the whole cruise run smoothly. And we also got an opportunity to go down and visit the laundry. It wasn't actually as hot as I anticipated it would be, but it was very interesting. So these last couple of photos are just from on board some boats. This was Norwegian Jewel. That looks to be a princess or a P&O. Yeah, P&O, just absolutely fabulous. So this is Jules Cruise Companion, saying if you like what you see, like and subscribe. You never know what I'm going to upload. I've done some information about different cruises. I also visit Jordan a lot. I've also done some packing videos and safety videos. You never know what I'm going to upload. So this is Jules Cruise Companion saying stay safe everybody and happy travels.